All right, let's get into it. The Super Bowl halftime show. It's not just a concert, right? It is the biggest stage on earth, beamed to over 100 million people. And this year, the NFL decided to do something that was anything but safe. They picked Bad Bunny. And that's the big question, isn't it? In a country that feels more divided than ever, why on earth would the NFL, an organization that usually runs from politics like it's on fire, hand its biggest microphone to an artist who has built his entire career on being unapologetically outspoken? Let's break it down. Look, this was always going to cause a stir. And the reaction, it was instant and it came from the very top. And there it is. That was President Trump just moments after the announcement. And just like that, the performance was no longer just about music. It was a political event. It put the NFL smack dab in the middle of the kind of controversy they normally spend millions of dollars to avoid. And this really gets to the heart of it. The league's whole brand, their whole identity, is built on being for everybody, staying right in the middle of the road. But this time, they didn't just pick a lane, they floored it. So to figure out why, first we've got to understand exactly who they picked.
So who exactly is Bad Bunny? I mean, calling him a big artist doesn't even begin to cover it. We are talking about, by the numbers, one of the biggest superstars on the entire planet. Get this, for 4 straight years, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, he was the single most streamed artist in the world. Not in Latin America, not in the US, in the world. That is a level of global domination that's just wild to think about. And it all happened incredibly fast. And you know, as a star got bigger, so did his voice. He has never ever been shy about where he stands. He's a powerful voice for his home, Puerto Rico, and a sharp critic of US colonialism. He champions LGBTQ+ rights, he's taken a firm stand against domestic violence, and he's been an outspoken critic of American immigration policy. Now, you really have to stop and think about the weight of this moment. He doesn't switch to English to get a bigger audience. He sings in Spanish. And this show, it's going to be entirely in Spanish, on the biggest stage in America. In a time when language itself can be so political, that act alone is a massive statement. So if he's so outspoken, so political, why would the NFL do this? Well, the answer, as it so often is, comes down to a very clear, very calculated, and very, very profitable business plan. Right now, the NFL has one main priority above all else: global growth. They're playing more and more games outside of the US every single year. In fact, the commissioner, Roger Goodell, says demand is so high they're actually having to turn cities away. The league is laser focused on becoming a truly global brand. And when you look at that global growth plan, which audiences are the most important? You guessed it, international fans, the enormous Spanish-speaking market, and, of course, younger audiences. Bad Bunny is the perfect bullseye. He sits right in the middle of all three. He is the ideal ambassador to reach the exact people the NFL needs for its future. This quote from an NFL consultant really says it all. The league basically said, yeah, we hear all the political noise and we don't care. This is business, and they're standing by it because it's a perfect match for their mission. But you know, it's kind of wild because the NFL was not always this bold about wading into controversy. To really get how much things have changed, you have to rewind the clock to the league's last major political crisis. Do you remember 2017, the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, kneeling to protest racial injustice? It set off a massive firestorm. It was a true crisis for the league. Owners were freaking out about the bottom line, sponsors were getting anxious, TV ratings were dipping, the whole league felt like it was on fire. Okay, so let's put these two moments side by side. Back then, with Kaepernick, the protest was seen as a threat to the business. Now, with Bad Bunny, the controversy is the business. With Kaepernick, owners saw brand damage and a hit to their wallets. With Bad Bunny, they see an asset for global growth, so there's been almost zero pushback from inside the league. And get this, Roc Nation, Jay-Z's company that now picks the halftime acts, the NFL hired them because of the Kaepernick crisis, to help them navigate exactly these kinds of cultural moments. So what's the real difference here? An NFL exec basically spelled it out. Kaepernick's protest was happening every single Sunday. On the field, during the games, it directly affected the product. Bad Bunny, it's a 12-minute concert. It doesn't threaten the core business. If anything, all the chatter just makes more people tune in. The controversy isn't a bug, it's a feature. Which, of course, brings us to the most fascinating question of all.
With all this as the backdrop, what is he actually going to do up there on that stage? Is he going to make some big political speech? Well, the answer might be a little more complex than you think. To get it, you have to understand this idea of joy as resistance. In Puerto Rican culture, and especially in Bad Bunny's art, protest isn't always about shouting into a microphone. It can be an active celebration. It's expressing your identity through your music, your dance, like perreo and plena, and just pure cultural pride. It's an act of joy in the face of struggle. And that, right there, is the key. He might not say a single overtly political word, but his very presence, a proud Puerto Rican man singing his heart out in Spanish, bringing the sounds of his island to 125 million people, that is the political statement. That act of unity, of getting the whole world to dance to his rhythm, is its own powerful form of resistance and representation. So in the end, it leaves us with this one last thought. The NFL gets a direct line to the global audience it desperately wants. Bad Bunny gets a platform for his art and culture that is completely unprecedented. It's a brilliant business move and a landmark cultural moment happening all at the same time. And it makes you wonder, when the giant machine of commerce lines up so perfectly with a powerful cultural statement, who really comes out on top?